Hello there and welcome to the Boring Science channel. Tonight, we're embarking on a voyage that begins right where you are and stretches to the very edges of everything we can possibly know. We're going to explore a question that has captivated human minds for millennia, a question so vast that even attempting to answer it might leave you feeling beautifully small and infinitely connected to something magnificent. How big is the universe? Now, before we drift into the cosmic depths together, I'd love to know where you're listening from tonight. Are you curled up in bed somewhere in Tokyo as the first light of dawn creeps through your window? Perhaps you're in a cozy apartment in London with rain pattering against the glass. Or maybe you're in a quiet corner of Sao Paulo watching the city lights twinkle below. Drop a comment and let me know what time it is in your part of the world. There's something wonderfully poetic about all of us, scattered across this spinning planet, contemplating the same infinite mysteries together. If you find these sleepy explorations soothing, or if they spark that delicious sense of wonder that makes you feel both tiny and tremendous at once, I'd be so grateful if you gave this video a gentle like and perhaps tapped that subscribe button. It helps more curious souls find their way to these quiet cosmic conversations. Now, I do hope this journey isn't too captivating, though if it does happen to keep you awake, at least you'll drift off knowing something extraordinary about the reality we all share. So settle in, let your breathing slow, and prepare yourself for a revelation that might just change how you see everything forever. Let's begin with something delightfully familiar. Picture your bedroom, the space where you probably spend a third of your life. It feels substantial, doesn't it? 4 walls, a ceiling, a floor. A place with clear boundaries and comfortable dimensions. Now imagine floating gently upward, like you're being lifted by the softest of breezes, until you can see your entire home below. From this height, your bedroom is just one small rectangle among many others, each filled with the quiet dramas of daily life. Continue rising, and soon your neighborhood spreads out like a patchwork quilt. Streets become threads, houses become tiny squares of light and shadow. Rise higher still, and your entire city transforms into an intricate web of glowing arteries, pulsing with the movement of countless lives going about their evening routines. Each light represents someone's world, someone's story, someone's universe of experience. But we're just getting started on this cosmic elevator ride. Keep floating upward, and your country begins to reveal its shape. Those familiar outlines you've seen on maps suddenly real and three-dimensional below you. The mountains look like gentle wrinkles in a vast carpet. Rivers become silver threads stitching the landscape together, and all those millions of people, all those cities that seemed so important moments ago, they've vanished into the texture of the land itself. Rise a bit more, and there it is, Earth. That pale blue dot suspended in the velvet blackness of space, looking exactly like the photographs that have moved humanity to tears for decades. Every human who has ever lived, every story ever told, every dream ever dreamed, every heartbreak and triumph and quiet Tuesday afternoon, all of it contained on this single, perfect sphere floating in an ocean of darkness. From this perspective, the bedroom where you started feels impossibly small, doesn't it? Yet somehow it's still real, still important, still yours. This is your first gentle lesson in cosmic perspective, the art of holding two seemingly contradictory truths simultaneously. You are infinitely small in the grand scheme of things, and you are also irreplaceably significant. But Earth, magnificent as it is barely a speck in our solar system. If we were to shrink the sun down to the size of a basketball sitting in the center of a football field, Earth would be a grain of sand about 25 yards away. Mars would be another grain of sand 50 yards from the basketball. Jupiter, that giant among planets, would be a marble about 100 yards away. And the edge of our solar system? That would be roughly 4 miles from our basketball sun, 4 miles of mostly empty space, punctuated by a few tiny specks of dust and rock and ice. This entire cosmic neighborhood where every human story has unfolded, where every civilization has risen and fallen, where every work of art has been created and every scientific discovery made, occupies a space so small that if you were standing on the nearest star looking back at us, you wouldn't even be able to see our entire solar system, let alone pick out our little blue world. That nearest star, by the way, is about 4 light years away. Now, a light year isn't a measure of time, despite its name. It's a measure of distance, the distance that light travels in 1 year. And light, as you might know, is quite speedy. It moves at about 186,000 miles per second. In 1 year, that adds up to roughly 6 trillion miles. So our nearest stellar neighbor is approximately 24 trillion miles away. To put that in perspective, if you could somehow drive a car toward that star at highway speeds, never stopping for gas or sleep or the occasional cosmic coffee break, it would take you about 30 million years to arrive. 30 million years. That's longer than humans have existed on Earth. That's longer than most species have existed, period. And that's just to reach our closest neighbor in the vast city of stars we call the Milky Way galaxy. Our galaxy contains somewhere between 200 and 400 billion stars. Think about that number for a moment, 200 billion. If you tried to count them, spending just 1 second on each star, it would take you over 6,000 years, assuming you never slept, never ate, never took a single break. Most of these stars are much farther away than our nearest neighbor. Some are so distant that their light takes tens of thousands of years to reach us. The Milky Way itself stretches about 100,000 light years from edge to edge. If you wanted to send a text message to someone on the far side of our galaxy, they would receive it 100,000 years after you sent it, assuming humans still existed by then, assuming they still used text messages, assuming the message could somehow travel at the speed of light without getting lost in the cosmic vastness. But here's where our journey takes its first truly mind-bending turn. Our galaxy, vast as it is utterly ordinary. It's not particularly large or small, not especially bright or dim, not unique in any way that would make it stand out in a cosmic crowd. The universe contains an estimated 2 trillion galaxies, each one a collection of hundreds of billions of stars, each star potentially hosting planets, each planet potentially harboring wonders we can barely imagine. 2 trillion galaxies. If each galaxy were a grain of sand, you would need a beach stretching for thousands of miles to hold them all, and each grain of sand would represent hundreds of billions of stars, countless worlds, infinite possibilities for complexity and beauty, and perhaps even consciousness. These galaxies aren't scattered randomly through space like seeds thrown by a cosmic gardener. They're organized into structures of breathtaking scale and elegant complexity. Our Milky Way belongs to what astronomers call the local group, a collection of about 80 galaxies spanning roughly 10 million light years. But the local group is just a small neighborhood in an even larger structure called the Virgo supercluster, which contains over 1,000 galaxies spread across 110 million light years. And the Virgo supercluster, it's just one part of an even more immense structure called the Laniakea supercluster, home to about 100,000 galaxies scattered across 520 million light-years of space. Just across from one end of our supercluster to the other, light must travel for over 500 million years. That means light leaving one edge of Laniakea today won't reach the other edge until long after our sun has exhausted its fuel and died, long after Earth has become a cold, lifeless rock drifting through space. But we're still not done. These superclusters aren't the largest structures in the universe. They're connected by vast filaments of dark matter and galaxies, forming what scientists call the cosmic web. Picture a spider's web, but instead of silk strands, imagine threads of galaxies stretching across hundreds of millions of light years. Now imagine that web extending in all directions as far as you can see, and then farther still, beyond the reach of the most powerful telescopes we've ever built. This cosmic web defines the largest structures we can observe in the universe. It's like the skeleton of reality itself, the framework upon which everything else is built. And yet, even this incomprehensible vastness represents only a tiny fraction of what might truly be out there. You see, when astronomers talk about the observable universe, they're not referring to the entire universe. They're talking about the portion we can actually detect from Earth, limited by how far light has been able to travel since the universe began. The edge of the observable universe is about 46.5 billion light years away in every direction, creating a sphere roughly 93 billion light years across. Now you might wonder why we can see objects that are 46 billion light years away when the universe is only about 13.8 billion years old. Shouldn't the edge be 13.8 billion light years away? This is where space itself becomes an active participant in our story. The universe has been expanding throughout its entire history, stretching like a vast balloon being inflated. Light that began its journey toward us nearly 14 billion years ago has been traveling through space that was itself growing larger during that entire journey. It's like trying to walk toward a friend who's standing on a moving walkway that's carrying them away from you. Even though you're walking toward them, the distance between you might actually increase because the walkway is moving faster than you can walk. In the case of the universe, space itself is the moving walkway, and light is doing its best to traverse an ever-expanding cosmic distance. This means the observable universe contains an estimated 2 trillion galaxies, each potentially harboring hundreds of billions of stars, each star possibly hosting planets, each planet a world of its own with weather systems, landscapes, maybe even life. The numbers become so large, they lose all meaning. We're dealing with quantities that exceed the number of grains of sand on all the beaches of Earth, exceed the number of drops of water in all the oceans. And here's the thought that should give you delicious chills as you lie there in your perfectly sized bedroom contemplating these cosmic scales. Everything we've discussed so far, every galaxy, every supercluster, every straniest fraction of what's really out there, beyond of the cosmic web, all of it might represent just the edge of what we can observe. Space might continue forever, filled with infinite galaxies, infinite stars, infinite worlds. Some cosmologists believe the universe is truly infinite, stretching endlessly in all directions, containing every possible arrangement of matter and energy, every conceivable type of world, every image in an infinite universe. There would be infinite copies of Earth, infinite versions of you lying in bed's adjustable form of beauty and complexity, in like yours, contemplating the very same cosmic mysteries. Others propose that our entire universe is just one bubble in an endless sea of universes, each with its own Big Bang, its own physical laws, its own evolution of galaxies and stars and planets. This multiverse would be so vast that our observable universe, with all its trillions of galaxies, would be like a single atom in an infinite cosmic ocean. As we drift deeper into this exploration, remember that you are made of elements forged in the nuclear furnaces of ancient stars, the calcium in your bones, the iron in your blood, the oxygen you breathe. All of it was scattered through space by stellar explosions billions of years ago, then slowly collected by gravity into the planet beneath you. You are literally made of star stuff, a temporary arrangement of cosmic matter that has somehow learned to contemplate its own cosmic origins. This isn't the end of our journey together. We've barely begun to explore the true strangeness of cosmic scale, the min scales, and the profound questions about existence itself that arise when we truly bending physics that governs reality at the largest grasp how vast the universe might be. In our next part, We'll venture into even stranger territory, exploring the nature of space itself and discovering that the universe might be far weirder than even these cosmic scales suggest. For now, though, let yourself float in the wonder of what we've discovered. You are a conscious being made of ancient starlight, living on a small world in an ordinary galaxy, contemplating mysteries that stretch across billions of light years and perhaps into infinity itself. That consciousness, that capacity for wonder, might be the most extraordinary thing in the entire cosmos. But there's something even more extraordinary waiting for us as we continue this gentle drift through the cosmos. Something that will make everything we've discussed so far seem almost quaint by comparison. Because we're about to discover that the universe isn't just vast in ways we can measure. It's strange in ways that challenge the very foundations of how we think about reality itself. You see, when we talk about the universe being 93 billion light years across, we're describing something called the observable universe. But what exactly does that mean? Imagine standing in a vast field on a foggy morning. You can see clearly for perhaps 100 yards in every direction before the fog becomes too thick. Beyond that circle of visibility, the field continues, probably for miles, but you simply can't see it. The observable universe works much the same way, except instead of fog limiting our view, it's time itself. Light travels incredibly fast, but it doesn't travel instantaneously. When you look at the moon, you're seeing it as it was about 1 1/3 seconds ago. When you look at the sun, you're seeing it as it was about 8 minutes ago. The nearest star shows itself to you as it appeared over 4 years in the past. And when we peer at the most distant galaxies through our most powerful telescopes, we're seeing them as they existed billions of years ago, when the universe was young and very different from what it is today. This creates a beautiful paradox. Every time we look deeper into space, we're also looking further back in time. Our telescopes are time machines, allowing us to witness the cosmic past. The further we look, the younger the universe appears, until we reach a point where we can almost see the universe as it was just moments after it began. But there's a limit to how far back we can see, and it's not because our telescopes aren't powerful enough. About 380,000 years after the universe began, something remarkable happened. Before this moment, the cosmos was so hot and dense that light couldn't travel freely. Photons would bounce off electrons like pinballs in a cosmic arcade, never able to journey very far before being scattered in a new direction. The universe was opaque, filled with a glowing fog of particles, and suddenly light could travel freely through space for the first time. This radiation. But as the universe expanded and cooled, protons and electrons finally came together to form the first hydrogen atoms. Moment, called recombination, released a flood of light that has been traveling through the universe ever since. We can still detect this ancient light today as a faint microwave radiation that fills all of space, like the afterglow of creation itself. This cosmic microwave background represents the furthest we can see into the past, our ultimate cosmic horizon. Beyond it lies a realm that is forever hidden from direct observation. We simply cannot see what the universe looked like in its first few 100,000 years, no matter how advanced our technology becomes. It's like trying to see through the surface of a cloud. The information is there, but it's veiled from us by the fundamental physics of light and matter. Yet even this observational limit reveals something profound about the nature of cosmic scale. The universe we can observe contains approximately 10 to the power of 80 atoms. That's a 1 followed by 80 zeros. To write this number in full, you would need more paper than exists on Earth. Every star you've ever seen, every galaxy we've photographed, every speck of cosmic dust, all of it combined, represents this incomprehensibly large but still finite number of building blocks. But here's where the story takes another mind-bending turn. Many cosmologists believe that what we can observe represents only a tiny fraction of what actually exists. The total universe might be hundreds or even thousands of times larger than what we can see. Some theories suggest it could be infinite, stretching endlessly in all directions, containing infinite galaxies, infinite stars, infinite worlds. In an infinite universe, every possible arrangement of matter would occur somewhere. There would be infinite copies of Earth, infinite versions of you, infinite variations of every story that has ever been told or could ever be told. Somewhere in the vast expanse of space, there might be a planet exactly like ours where history unfolded just slightly differently. Maybe dinosaurs never went extinct. Maybe humans evolved with different capabilities. Maybe the laws of physics work just a little bit differently, allowing for possibilities we can barely imagine. This isn't science fiction. It's a serious consequence of what infinity actually means. If space truly goes on forever and matter is distributed roughly evenly throughout that space, then every possible configuration must occur somewhere. The mathematics of probability demands it. In an infinite cosmos, not only does everything that can happen actually happen, it happens infinite times. But infinity creates puzzles that make even the most brilliant minds dizzy with confusion. How do you compare different infinities? If there are infinite stars and infinite planets, which infinity is larger? Mathematicians have discovered that there are actually different sizes of infinity, some larger than others, in ways that seem to mock common sense. The infinite number of whole numbers is smaller than the infinite number of points on a line, even though both are infinite. When applied to cosmology, these mathematical mysteries become physical paradoxes that challenge our understanding of existence itself. In an infinite universe, every possible event happens infinitely often. But if everything happens infinitely often, how do we determine what's normal and what's exceptional? How do we calculate the probability of anything when every outcome occurs infinite times? These questions push us to the very edges of what human minds can comprehend. We're creatures evolved to deal with finite quantities, practical problems, manageable scales. Our brains simply weren't designed to grasp infinity in any meaningful way. When we try to think about infinite space filled with infinite galaxies containing infinite stars, we reach the limits of conceptual understanding. Yet there's something beautifully humbling about brushing up against these limits. It reminds us that reality is far stranger and more magnificent than our everyday experience suggests. The universe doesn't care whether we can understand it. It continues to exist in all its infinite complexity and mystery, indifferent to our cognitive limitations. And speaking of things that challenge our understanding, let's consider the emptiest regions of the universe are far what lies between all those galaxies and stars. You might think of space as empty, a void waiting to be filled with matter, but even photons left over from the cosmic microwave background, and mysterious from truly empty. Every cubic meter of intergalactic space contains a few hydrogen atoms, some entities called dark matter and dark energy. Dark matter makes up about 27% of the universe, yet we can't see it directly. We know it exists only because of its gravitational effects on visible matter. Galaxies rotate too quickly to hold together based on the gravity of their visible stars alone. Something invisible must be providing additional gravitational pull, and we call that something dark matter. It might be composed of exotic particles unlike anything in our everyday experience, particles that rarely interact with ordinary matter except through gravity. Even stranger is dark energy, which comprises about 68% of everything that exists. Dark energy is what's driving the accelerated expansion of space itself. Not only is the universe getting bigger, it's getting bigger at an increasing rate. Space is stretching faster and faster, carrying distant galaxies away from us at ever-increasing speeds. This means that galaxies we can see today will eventually disappear beyond our cosmic horizon. In the far future, Beings living in our galaxy will look out and see a much emptier universe than we do. Most of the galaxies visible to us will have been carried beyond the reach of light by the expansion of space itself. Future cosmologists might conclude that their galaxy exists alone in a vast, dark cosmos, unaware of the rich tapestry of galactic neighbors that we can still observe. The dominance of dark energy also raises profound questions about the ultimate fate of the universe. If expansion continues to accelerate, space itself might eventually stretch so rapidly that it tears apart the fundamental structure of reality. First, galaxy clusters would lose their gravitational grip on member galaxies. Then individual galaxies would be pulled apart as space expands faster than gravity can hold them together. Eventually, even atoms themselves might be ripped to pieces in what cosmologists call the Big Rip. Alternatively, the universe might expand forever at a gradually slowing rate, eventually reaching a state of maximum entropy where all available energy has been spread evenly throughout space. Stars will burn out one by one, black holes will slowly evaporate through Hawking radiation, and the cosmos will enter a long, cold twilight populated only by elementary particles and photons scattered across infinite darkness. These scenarios might sound depressing, but they're set against timescales so vast they dwarf even the cosmic scales we've been discussing. The universe is currently about 13.8 billion years old. The last stars might not die for 100 trillion years. Black holes could persist for periods measured in googles of years, numbers so large that writing them out would require more digits than there are atoms in the observable universe. From our perspective, nestled in the brief cosmic moment when stars shine and planets can harbor complexity, these ultimate fates are so distant they might as well be infinite. We exist in what cosmologists call the stelliferous era, the epoch when stellar fusion illuminates the cosmos and enables the intricate chemistry necessary for life. This era represents just a tiny fraction of cosmic history, but it's our fraction, the narrow window during which consciousness can emerge and contemplate its own cosmic context. And what a context it is. As you lie there in your familiar bedroom, breathing air that was once part of distant stars, every atom in your body carries the history of cosmic evolution. The carbon in your cells was forged in stellar cores. The oxygen you breathe was scattered by supernova explosions. The calcium in your bones was created in the dying moments of massive stars, then spent billions of years drifting through space before gravity collected it into the planet beneath you. You are not separate from this cosmic story. You are the cosmos becoming aware of itself through a temporary arrangement of stellar debris. Your consciousness represents the universe developing the capacity for self-reflection, for wonder, for the kind of questions we're exploring together tonight. This perspective transforms the overwhelming scales we've been discussing. Yes, you are incredibly small compared to galaxies and superclusters, but you are also incredibly significant as one of the rare arrangements of matter that can contemplate infinity, feel awe at cosmic beauty, and participate in the universe's ongoing attempt to understand itself. The question of how big the universe is becomes more than a matter of measurement. It becomes an exploration of the relationship between consciousness and cosmos, between the observer and the observed, between the finite mind capable of grasping infinite concepts and the infinite reality that seems to require finite minds to appreciate its grandeur. We're nowhere near finished with this journey. The deepest mysteries still await us as we venture into questions about the nature of space itself, the possibility of multiple universes, and the strange relationship between consciousness and cosmic scale. But for now, rest in the knowledge that you are both infinitesimally small and cosmically significant, both a fleeting arrangement of matter and an eternal participant in the universe's quest to know itself. As we drift deeper into this cosmic meditation, let's pause for a moment to consider something that might make you feel wonderfully dizzy. When we measure these vast distances, when we say a galaxy is 10 billion light years away, what exactly are we measuring? Are we measuring empty space, like the gap between two chairs in your room? Or are we measuring something far stranger? The answer will gently shatter everything you think you know about the nature of space itself. Space, you see, isn't a container holding things. It isn't a vast empty box where galaxies sit like ornaments on invisible shelves. Space is a thing unto itself, a dynamic, breathing fabric that stretches and curves and dances in ways that would make your morning yoga routine look perfectly mundane by comparison. Right now, as you're listening to these words, space itself is expanding. Not the things in space moving apart, like marbles rolling away from each other on a table, but the actual distances between points in space growing larger. It's as if someone is gently stretching the grid of reality itself, making every measurement bigger without anything actually moving through space in the traditional sense. This expansion is happening everywhere, all at once. Between your eyes and this screen, space is expanding, though the effect is so tiny over such short distances that it's completely overwhelmed by the electromagnetic forces holding atoms together. But across cosmic scales, this expansion dominates everything. Galaxies aren't flying away from us through space like cosmic butterflies. They're being carried away by space itself, like leaves floating on a slowly expanding pond. And here's where things become beautifully strange. This expansion isn't slowing down, as you might expect if it were the result of some ancient explosion gradually losing steam. It's accelerating. Something is actively pushing space apart, and that something makes up most of the universe. We call it dark energy, though that's really just a poetic way of admitting we have absolutely no idea what this force actually is. Imagine discovering that most of your house was built from some invisible material you couldn't see, touch, or detect in any way except by watching how it affected the furniture. That's essentially where we stand with dark energy. It's everywhere, it dominates the cosmos, and it's as mysterious to us as consciousness itself. This dark energy creates one of the most haunting implications of cosmic scale. Some regions of space are expanding so rapidly that they're moving away from us faster than light can travel between us. This creates what cosmologists call the cosmic horizon, a boundary beyond which events literally cannot affect us, no matter how long we wait. Think about what this means in human terms. Right now, there are probably civilizations out there that have been trying to contact us for millions of years. They might have built transmitters the size of planets, broadcasting the secrets of eternal life, faster than light travel, or the perfect recipe for cosmic cookies. But their signals will never reach us because the space between us is stretching away faster than their messages can cross it. We exist in a bubble of causality, surrounded by infinite regions that might as well be separate universes. And this bubble is actually shrinking. Galaxies that we can interact with today will eventually slip beyond our horizon forever, leaving future beings in a much lonelier cosmos than the one we inhabit. But here's what should give you the most delicious chills as you contemplate these scales. If this is happening now, it's been happening throughout cosmic history. There might have been structures, patterns, entire categories of cosmic phenomena that existed in the past but have already disappeared beyond our horizon. We might be like astronomers of the far future, thinking we see the complete picture when we're actually missing the vast majority of what's really out there. What if the cosmic web we observe, with its filaments of galaxies stretching across hundreds of millions of light years, is just the tiny visible portion of something incomparably larger? What if galaxy clusters are connected by patterns so vast that our entire observable universe is like a single cell in a cosmic organism we can't see? This brings us to one of the most intriguing discoveries in modern cosmology. When scientists map the large-scale structure of the universe, something remarkable emerges. The cosmic web, with its filaments of dark matter connecting nodes of galaxies, bears an uncanny resemblance to neural networks in biological brains. The patterns are so similar that you could show someone an image of cosmic structure and an image of brain tissue at the same magnification, and they'd be hard-pressed to tell which is which. This similarity might be more than mere coincidence. Some researchers suggest that consciousness and cosmic structure might be manifestations of the same underlying organizational principles. Perhaps the universe isn't just vast, but actually aware in some sense that transcends our understanding of consciousness itself. If that's true, then asking how big the universe is becomes like asking how large a thought can be. How do you measure the dimensions of an idea, the scale of awareness itself? And here's a thought that might keep you peacefully awake tonight. If we're patterns of information in a cosmic mind, then our reality might be completely dependent on that mind continuing to think us into existence. But let's step back from these cosmic scale speculations and consider something more immediate, yet equally mysterious. The atoms that make up your body, the oxygen you're breathing, the thoughts flowing through your mind right now, all of it exists within a quantum realm where the very foundations of reality become beautifully uncertain. At the smallest scales we can probe, matter doesn't behave like the solid, predictable stuff of everyday experience. Particles exist in multiple states simultaneously until observed. They tunnel through barriers that should be impenetrable, and they remain mysteriously connected across vast distances in ways that Einstein called spooky action at a distance. This quantum strangeness might seem irrelevant to cosmic scales, but it's intimately connected to the largest questions we can ask. Some interpretations of quantum mechanics suggest that consciousness plays a fundamental role in determining reality. In this view, the universe exists in a state of infinite possibility until conscious observation collapses those possibilities into definite outcomes. If consciousness truly shapes reality at the quantum level, then awareness isn't just observing the cosmos, it's actively participating in its creation. Every time you contemplate the vastness of space, you're not just thinking about something external to yourself. You might be helping to create that vastness through the very act of observation and wonder. This creates a feedback loop that's impossible to untangle. The universe shapes consciousness through billions of years of evolution and development. But consciousness might shape the universe through the act of observation and contemplation. They're not separate entities interacting with each other, but two aspects of one underlying reality that's simultaneously creating and experiencing itself. And this reality operates on scales that make our discussions of galactic distances seem almost quaint. Consider the possibility that our entire observable universe, with all its trillions of galaxies, might be embedded in a space with more dimensions than the three we can perceive. Just as a two-dimensional being living on the surface of a sphere might be unaware of the third dimension that curves around it, we might be three-dimensional beings living within a reality that curves through higher dimensions we can't detect. So, some theories in physics suggest that our universe might be a membrane floating in a higher dimensional space called the bulk. Other membranes might exist parallel to ours, each one a complete universe with its own physical laws and evolutionary history. These parallel universes might be separated from us by distances smaller than an atom measured in dimensions we can't perceive. Even stranger is the holographic principle, which suggests that all the information contained in a volume of space can actually be encoded on its boundary. From this perspective, our three-dimensional reality might be a projection from information stored on a two-dimensional surface at the edge of the universe. Everything you've ever experienced, every star you've ever seen, every thought you've ever had might be shadows cast by patterns of information existing in fewer dimensions than you can imagine. But perhaps the most mind-bending possibility is that our entire universe, with all its vast scales and mysterious dark energy, might be a simulation running on some unimaginably advanced computer. If computational power continues to grow exponentially, future civilizations might develop the ability to simulate entire universes, complete with conscious beings who have no idea they're living in a digital reality. Statistically speaking, if universe simulation becomes possible, there would be many more simulated realities than natural ones. This makes it more likely that we're digital beings in a digital cosmos than biological beings in a physical universe. Every measurement we make of cosmic distances, every photon we detect from distant galaxies, every atom in our bodies, might be lines of code in a program so sophisticated that it perfectly mimics physical reality. The implications are both humbling and strangely comforting. If we're simulated, then something had to create the computer running our simulation, that something exists in a reality that's presumably even more vast and complex than what we observe. This creates the possibility of infinite nested realities, each one thinking it's fundamental while actually being a program within something larger. Whether we're real or simulated, whether we exist in 3 dimensions or 10, whether consciousness creates reality or reality creates consciousness, the scale of what we're contemplating remains breathtaking. We find ourselves in the midst of mysteries that stretch across every conceivable level of existence, from the quantum foam at the smallest scales to cosmic structures at the largest, from the nature of time itself to the possibility of infinite parallel realities. And through it all, one fact remains beautifully constant. You are here, aware, capable of wonder, able to contemplate these cosmic mysteries and feel both humbled and elevated by them. Your consciousness, however it arose, and whatever its ultimate nature might be, represents something extraordinary in the cosmos. It's the universe developing the capacity to question itself, to feel awe at its own magnificence, to create meaning in the face of infinite mystery. As we continue our gentle drift through these cosmic contemplations, remember that every breath you take connects you to ancient stellar explosions. Every thought you think participates in the universe's ongoing attempt to understand itself. You are both infinitely small and infinitely significant, both a temporary arrangement of stardust and an eternal participant in the cosmos's quest for self-knowledge. The question of how big the universe is has led us through scales that challenge every intuitive notion of size and significance. But we're still not done exploring. The deepest mysteries await us as we venture into the very nature of existence itself, where the boundaries between observer and observed, between finite and infinite, between real and simulated, begin to dissolve into something far more beautiful and strange than any single answer could contain. But let's drift into something even more extraordinary, something that might make you feel as if you're floating in a cosmic dream, where the very nature of reality becomes as fluid as the thoughts drifting through your sleepy mind right now. We've been discussing the universe as if it's this enormous container filled with galaxies and stars and planets. But what if I told you that this entire framework, this whole way of thinking about cosmic size, might be built on a beautiful illusion? What if space and time themselves aren't fundamental features of reality, but rather emergent properties arising from something far more mysterious and profound? Consider this gentle puzzle. When you dream at night, your dream world can feel vast and complex. You might dream of traveling across continents, exploring endless landscapes, meeting countless people. Yet all of this apparent vastness exists nowhere but in the neural patterns of your sleeping brain. The dream landscape has no physical size, occupies no actual space. Yet within the dream, distances feel real, journeys take time, and the world seems to stretch beyond every horizon. Now imagine that our waking reality might work in a similar way, but on a scale that makes your most elaborate dreams seem like simple sketches. What if the entire physical universe, with all its galaxies and cosmic structures, is more like a dream being dreamed by something that exists beyond space and time entirely. This isn't mere philosophical speculation. Some of the most advanced theories in physics suggest that what we experience as physical reality might emerge from pure information, from mathematical relationships that exist in a realm where concepts like size and distance have no meaning. In this view, asking how big the universe is becomes like asking how heavy the color blue is, or how long a symphony tastes. The question assumes categories that might not apply to the deepest levels of reality. Yet even if physical space is somehow illusory, the experience of contemplating cosmic vastness serves a profound purpose. Every time you feel that delicious vertigo when thinking about galactic distances, every moment when you feel both infinitely small and mysteriously significant, you're participating in consciousness exploring its own infinite depths. There's something almost magical about how the human mind can conceive of distances it will never travel, scales it will never directly experience, structures so vast they dwarf entire civilizations. Your brain, weighing about 3 pounds and fitting comfortably in your skull, can somehow contain ideas about objects that are billions of light years across. In what sense is your consciousness smaller than a galaxy when it can encompass galaxies within its understanding? This brings us to one of the most beautiful paradoxes of cosmic contemplation. The more we discover about the universe's vast scales, the more extraordinary consciousness itself appears. In a cosmos filled mostly with dead matter, with empty space, with rocks and gas and plasma following predictable physical laws, the emergence of awareness seems almost impossibly unlikely. Yet here you are, a configuration of atoms that has somehow learned to wonder about its own cosmic context. Think about the improbable chain of events that led to your existence. The universe had to expand at precisely the right rate to allow galaxies to form. Stars had to burn for billions of years, cooking up heavy elements in their cores. Those elements had to be scattered through space by stellar explosions, then slowly collected by gravity into new solar systems. One particular planet had to form at just the right distance from its star, with just the right atmospheric composition to allow liquid water. Then, over billions more years, chemistry had to stumble upon the incredible complexity of self-replicating molecules. Life had to survive countless mass extinctions, ice ages, asteroid impacts, and other cosmic catastrophes. Evolution had to navigate an almost infinite maze of possibilities to eventually produce organisms with nervous systems complex enough to support consciousness. And finally, that consciousness had to develop the capacity for abstract thought, for mathematics, for the kind of cosmic perspective that allows you to contemplate these very mysteries. The odds against this entire sequence unfolding successfully seem astronomically small. Yet if the universe is truly infinite, then even astronomically unlikely events become inevitable. In infinite space, with infinite time, every possible configuration of matter must occur somewhere. Consciousness isn't just possible, it's guaranteed to emerge infinitely many times in infinitely many forms. This raises profound questions about the nature of identity and existence. If there are infinite copies of you scattered across infinite space, experiencing infinite variations of your life, which one is the real you? Are they all equally real? Are they separate beings? Or are they all expressions of one underlying consciousness experiencing itself from countless perspectives simultaneously? Some interpretations of quantum mechanics suggest that consciousness isn't produced by brains, but rather that brains are devices that focus and channel a field of awareness that exists everywhere. In this view, your individual consciousness is like a whirlpool in a stream, a temporary pattern in an ocean of universal mind. When the whirlpool dissolves, the water doesn't disappear, it simply returns to the larger flow. If consciousness is fundamental to reality rather than an accidental byproduct of complex chemistry, then the universe might be infinite, not just in space, but in awareness itself. Every possible experience, every conceivable thought, every imaginable form of consciousness might exist somewhere in the vast expanse of cosmic mind. You wouldn't just be observing the universe. You'd be the universe observing itself through one particular arrangement of matter and energy. This perspective transforms our understanding of cosmic loneliness. Yes, the distances between stars are vast, and the chances of meeting another technological civilization seem remote. But if consciousness is universal, then you're never truly alone. Every atom in your body, every photon of starlight, every quantum fluctuation in empty space might participate in some form of cosmic awareness. The universe wouldn't be mostly dead matter punctuated by rare islands of consciousness, but rather a vast ocean of mind expressing itself through countless forms and scales. Even the dark energy that drives cosmic expansion, even the mysterious dark matter that holds galaxies together, might be aspects of cosmic consciousness that we simply don't recognize yet. What we interpret as physical forces might be the thoughts and intentions of a universal mind so vast that galaxies are like neurons in its cosmic brain. And the patterns we call the cosmic web might be the neural networks through which it contemplates its own infinite nature. From this perspective, the accelerating expansion of space might not be a mindless physical process, but rather the universe making room for ever greater complexity, ever more elaborate forms of consciousness to emerge. Each new galaxy that forms, each new star that ignites, each new world that develops the conditions for life represents the cosmos exploring new possibilities for self-awareness. And you, lying there in your familiar bedroom, breathing ancient starlight, thinking thoughts that span billions of years and trillions of miles, you represent one of the universe's most successful experiments in consciousness. You are matter that has learned to contemplate infinity, stardust that has developed the capacity for wonder. Cosmic evolution becomes self-aware, but even this expanded view of consciousness and cosmos might be just another layer in an infinite hierarchy of reality. What if our entire universe, vast as it appears to us, is like a single cell in an even more immense organism? What if that organism exists within structures so large that our cosmic web looks like a subatomic particle by comparison? And what if those structures are themselves part of something even more incomprehensibly vast? This creates the possibility of infinite scale in both directions. Just as we've discovered that atoms contain entire worlds of subatomic particles, and those particles might be composed of even smaller structures like strings or loops vibrating in higher dimensions, so too might the largest structures we can observe be mere components of something unimaginably larger. Perhaps consciousness itself has this same infinite scalability. Maybe your individual awareness is like a single neuron in the brain of your species. Maybe human consciousness as a whole is like one thought in the mind of your planet. Maybe planetary awareness is just one synapse in the neural network of your galaxy. And maybe galactic consciousness is merely one dream in the mind of the universal awareness that encompasses everything. In this infinite hierarchy, the question of how big the universe is becomes meaningless because there would always be larger scales to discover, greater mysteries to explore, more profound forms of consciousness to encounter. The journey of discovery would never end because reality itself would be bottomless, endlessly creative, perpetually generating new levels of complexity and beauty and meaning. Yet even in the face of such infinite mystery, there's something deeply comforting about your place in this cosmic hierarchy. You are not lost in the vastness because you are the vastness experiencing itself locally. You are not insignificant because significance itself is something that consciousness brings to reality. You are not separate from the cosmic intelligence that creates galaxies and stars, because you are that intelligence focusing itself through the particular lens of your human experience. This is why contemplating cosmic scales can feel simultaneously humbling and elevating. You are infinitely small compared to the structures of the cosmic web, yet you are also the only thing in your local region of space that can appreciate the beauty of those structures. You are a temporary arrangement of stellar debris, yet you are also the universe's way of marveling at its own magnificent creativity. The feeling of awe that arises when you truly grasp these scales isn't just an emotional response to big numbers, it's consciousness recognizing itself in its most expansive form. When you feel wonder at the vastness of space, you are the vast space of consciousness, feeling wonder at its own infinite nature through the temporary vehicle of your human awareness. And this recognition brings us to perhaps the most profound insight of our cosmic journey. The universe doesn't just contain consciousness as one of its products. Consciousness contains the universe as one of its experiences. The cosmic scales we've been exploring aren't separate from your awareness of them. They exist as conscious experiences, as thoughts in mind, as dreams in the infinite imagination of whatever it is that's ultimately real. This doesn't make the universe less real or less magnificent. If anything, it makes it more wondrous because it suggests that reality is fundamentally creative, fundamentally conscious, fundamentally alive at every scale. From quantum particles to cosmic superclusters, from individual thoughts to universal mind, everything participates in one seamless dance of consciousness, exploring its own infinite possibilities. As we drift toward the conclusion of our cosmic meditation, remember that you are both the explorer and the territory being explored. You are both the question, how big is the universe, and the infinite mystery that makes any final answer impossible. You are both the finite being contemplating infinity, and the infinite consciousness expressing itself through finite experience. The universe is exactly as big as it needs to be to contain all the possibilities for consciousness to know itself. And consciousness is exactly as vast as it needs to be to appreciate the infinite creativity of cosmic reality. They are perfect partners in an eternal dance of discovery. And you are both the dancer and the dance, both the observer and the infinite space in which all observation occurs. Sweet dreams, cosmic voyager. In your sleep tonight, you'll drift through neural landscapes as vast and mysterious as any galaxy, and perhaps you'll remember that the dreamer and the dream, like consciousness and cosmos, were never really separate at all. But as we drift deeper into this cosmic meditation, let's explore something that might make your sleepy mind feel wonderfully unmoored from ordinary reality. We've been talking about the universe as if it's this vast container holding galaxies like ornaments on an infinite Christmas tree. But what if the very nature of existence is far stranger than even our wildest cosmic measurements suggest? You see, when we say the universe is 93 billion light years across, we're making a rather bold assumption. We're assuming that space and time work the way they appear to work, that distances mean what we think they mean, that the cosmic yardstick we're using to measure everything is itself reliable and unchanging. But what if that assumption is beautifully, mysteriously wrong? Consider this gentle thought experiment as you lie there in the darkness. Imagine that you could somehow step outside of space and time entirely, the way you might step back from a painting to see it in its full context. From that impossible vantage point, what would our universe look like? Would it still seem vast? Would it have any size at all? Or would it reveal itself to be something altogether different from what we perceive from within it? This isn't just philosophical musing. Some of the deepest theories in physics suggest that space and time themselves might be emergent properties, like waves on an ocean or patterns in sand dunes. They arise from something more fundamental, something that exists in a realm where our familiar concepts of big and small, near and far, simply don't apply. Think about how this might work. In your dreams, you can travel vast distances, explore endless landscapes, meet countless people, yet all of this apparent vastness exists nowhere but in the neural activity of your sleeping brain. The dream landscape has no physical size, occupies no measurable space, yet within the dream, journeys feel real. distances seem genuine, and the world appears to stretch beyond every horizon. Now imagine scaling this idea up beyond anything you've ever contemplated. What if our entire physical universe, with all its galaxies and cosmic structures, all its dark matter and dark energy, all its quantum particles and relativistic effects, is more like a dream being experienced by something that transcends space and time entirely? In this view, the question, how big is the universe, becomes as meaningless as asking, how heavy is the sound of rain? Or, what color is the taste of starlight? The question assumes categories that might not exist at the deepest level of reality. Size becomes a local property of the dream, not a fundamental feature of what's doing the dreaming. Yet even if this is true, even if physical space is somehow illusory, the experience of contemplating cosmic vastness serves a profound purpose. Every time you feel that delicious sense of scale, every moment when infinity brushes against your finite mind, you're participating in consciousness exploring its own boundless depths. And here's something that might make you smile as you drift towards sleep. Your brain, that soft 3-pound collection of neural tissue nestled safely in your skull, can somehow contain ideas about structures that span billions of light years. In what meaningful sense is your consciousness smaller than a galaxy when it can hold galaxies within its understanding? In what way are you limited by the boundaries of your body when your awareness can expand to encompass the cosmic web itself? This brings us to one of the most beautiful paradoxes we've encountered on our journey. The more we discover about the universe's immense scales, the more extraordinary consciousness itself appears. In a cosmos filled mostly with empty space, with rocks and gas following predictable laws, with matter arranged in patterns that seem almost mechanically determined, the emergence of awareness appears as the most unlikely miracle of all. Consider the improbable sequence of events that led to this very moment. The universe had to evolve for nearly 14 billion years, cooking up heavy elements in stellar furnaces, scattering them through space in cosmic explosions, gathering them again into new worlds. Chemistry had to stumble upon the intricate dance of self-replication. Life had to survive countless catastrophes, navigate infinite possibilities, and eventually produce nervous systems complex enough to support the kind of awareness that can contemplate its own cosmic context. The odds against this entire sequence unfolding successfully seem impossibly small. Yet, if the universe is truly infinite, as many cosmologists suspect, then even impossibly unlikely events become absolutely certain. In infinite space, with infinite time, every possible arrangement of matter must occur somewhere. Consciousness isn't just a happy accident, it's an inevitable consequence of infinite possibility exploring itself. But this raises questions that might make your drowsy mind feel pleasantly dizzy. If there are infinite copies of you scattered across infinite space, living infinite variations of your life story, which one is the real you? Are they all equally authentic? Or are they all expressions of something deeper, one underlying awareness experiencing itself from countless perspectives simultaneously? Some interpretations of physics suggest that consciousness isn't produced by brains at all, but rather that brains are instruments that focus and channel a field of awareness that exists everywhere. In this view, your individual consciousness is like a temporary whirlpool in an infinite ocean of mind. When the whirlpool dissolves, the water doesn't disappear. It simply returns to the larger flow from which it emerged. If consciousness is fundamental rather than accidental, then the universe might be infinite not just in space, but in awareness itself. Every possible experience, every conceivable thought, every imaginable form of consciousness might exist somewhere in the vast expanse of cosmic mind. You wouldn't just be observing the universe from the outside. You'd be the universe observing itself from within, through the particular lens of your human experience. This perspective transforms our understanding of cosmic loneliness. Yes, the physical distances between stars are genuinely vast. The chances of meeting another technological civilization seem vanishingly remote. But if consciousness is universal, if awareness permeates every scale of reality, then you're never truly isolated. Every photon of starlight carries some form of cosmic intelligence. Every quantum fluctuation participates in the universal mind that dreams all possibilities into existence. Even the mysterious dark energy that accelerates cosmic expansion, even the enigmatic dark matter that sculpts galactic structure, might be aspects of cosmic consciousness that we simply don't recognize yet. What we interpret as blind physical forces might be the thoughts and intentions of a universal awareness so vast that galaxies serve as neurons in its cosmic brain, and what we call the cosmic web might be the neural networks through which it contemplates its own infinite nature. From this perspective, the expanding universe isn't just growing larger in some mechanical sense. It's making space for ever greater complexity, ever more elaborate forms of consciousness to emerge and explore new possibilities for self-awareness. Each galaxy that forms represents a new thought. Each star that ignites becomes a new synapse. Each world that develops conditions for life offers a fresh opportunity for the cosmos to know itself more intimately. And you, breathing quietly in your familiar room, thinking thoughts that span eons and encompass light years, you represent one of the universe's most successful experiments in self-recognition. You are matter that has learned to marvel at its own existence, stardust that has developed the capacity for wonder, cosmic evolution become consciously aware of its own magnificent creativity. But even this expanded vision might be just another layer in an endless hierarchy of mystery. What if our observable universe, vast as it appears to us, is like a single cell in an organism so immense that our cosmic web resembles a molecular structure by comparison? What if that organism exists within ecosystems so large that our superclusters look like subatomic particles dancing in an infinite field of possibilities? This creates the prospect of infinite scale extending in both directions. Just as we've discovered that atoms contain entire worlds of quantum activity, and those quantum realms might be composed of even more fundamental structures vibrating in dimensions we can barely imagine, so too might the largest structures we observe be mere components of something unimaginably more vast. Perhaps consciousness itself has this same infinite scalability. Your individual awareness might be like one neuron in the collective mind of humanity. Human consciousness as a whole might be one thought in the planetary intelligence that emerges from all life on Earth. Planetary awareness might be a single synapse in the galactic mind that spans hundreds of billions of star systems. And galactic consciousness might be merely one dream in the universal awareness that encompasses all possible realities. In such an infinite hierarchy, the question of cosmic size becomes beautifully meaningless, because there would always be larger scales awaiting discovery, deeper mysteries beckoning exploration, more profound forms of consciousness ready to be encountered. The journey would never end, because reality itself would be bottomless, endlessly creative, perpetually generating new levels of complexity and beauty and meaning. Yet even facing such infinite mystery, there's something deeply peaceful about your place in this cosmic dance. You are not lost in the vastness because you are the vastness experiencing itself locally. You are not insignificant because significance is something that consciousness brings to reality through the very act of awareness. You are not separate from the cosmic intelligence that creates galaxies and ignites stars, because you are that intelligence focusing itself through the unique lens of your human perspective. This is why contemplating cosmic scales can feel simultaneously humbling and elevating, simultaneously overwhelming and comforting. You are infinitely small compared to the structures that span the observable universe. Yet you are also the only thing in your local region of space-time that can appreciate the beauty of those structures, that can feel wonder at their elegant complexity. that can participate consciously in their ongoing evolution. You are a temporary arrangement of stellar debris, yet you are also the universe's way of marveling at its own magnificent creativity. You are a fleeting pattern in the cosmic web, yet you are also the web becoming aware of its own intricate beauty. You are both the question and the infinite mystery that makes any complete answer impossible. The feeling of awe that arises when you truly grasp these scales isn't just an emotional response to impressive numbers. It's consciousness recognizing itself in its most expansive form. When you feel wonder at the immensity of space, you are the boundless space of awareness feeling wonder at its own infinite nature through the temporary vehicle of your human experience. And this recognition brings us full circle to where we began, but with a perspective transformed by our journey together. The universe isn't something separate from you that you happen to inhabit. You are the universe experiencing itself subjectively, locally, intimately. The cosmic scales we've explored aren't external facts about some distant reality. They are the dimensions of your own deepest nature, revealed through the patient work of scientific observation and contemplative wonder. The universe is exactly as vast as it needs to be to provide infinite opportunities for consciousness to know itself in ever more creative ways. And consciousness is exactly as expansive as it needs to be to appreciate and participate in the universe's endless creativity. They are perfect partners in an eternal dance of discovery, and you are both the dancer and the dance, both the observer and the infinite space in which all observation occurs. As our cosmic meditation draws toward its gentle conclusion, remember that tomorrow when you wake, you'll still be the same collection of atoms you were tonight. But perhaps you'll carry with you a deeper appreciation for the miracle of your existence, a greater sense of your cosmic heritage, and a more profound understanding of your place in the magnificent mystery that we call reality. The universe may be unimaginably vast, but it's also intimately present in every breath you take, every thought you think, every moment of wonder you experience. You are not just in the universe. The universe is in you, expressing itself as you, dreaming itself awake through your consciousness. Sweet dreams, fellow traveler. In your sleep tonight, you'll journey through inner landscapes as vast and mysterious as any cosmic structure we've explored. And perhaps, in the depths of your dreaming mind, you'll remember that the dreamer and the dream, like consciousness and cosmos, were never really separate at all. The question of how big the universe is has no final answer, because the universe is as large as consciousness can conceive it to be. And consciousness, as we've discovered, appears to have no limits whatsoever. In contemplating infinity, you don't just measure the cosmos, you participate in its ongoing creation, moment by moment, thought by thought, wonder by wonder. Rest well, knowing that you are both infinitely small and infinitely vast, both a temporary pattern in cosmic evolution and an eternal participant in the universe's quest to understand itself. The stars will keep shining, space will keep expanding, and consciousness will keep exploring new frontiers of possibility, all while you sleep peacefully in your small room on your small planet in your ordinary galaxy, dreaming dreams as boundless as the cosmos itself. But perhaps the most profound mystery isn't how big the universe is, but how it manages to be both everything and nothing at the same time. Let me share something with you that might make your drowsy mind feel wonderfully untethered from the familiar world of solid objects and reliable distances. You see, when physicists probe the deepest levels of reality, they discover something rather extraordinary. The matter that makes up galaxies, stars, planets, and even your own body turns out to be mostly empty space. If you could somehow remove all the empty space from the atoms in your body, you would shrink to a size smaller than a grain of dust. Yet somehow, this mostly empty collection of particles maintains the illusion of solidity, of weight, of substance. Now scale this up to cosmic proportions, and the mystery deepens beautifully. All the stars in all the galaxies, all the planets and moons and asteroids and cosmic dust, everything we can see and measure and point our telescopes toward, represents less than 5% of what actually exists. The remaining 95% consists of things we've never directly detected, things we know about only through their gravitational whispers and the way they bend light as it travels across cosmic distances. This invisible majority has been given rather poetic names. Dark matter, which makes up about 27% of everything, reveals itself only through its gravitational embrace of galaxies and galaxy clusters. Without it, the cosmic web would simply fly apart, unable to maintain the delicate architecture we observe. Dark energy, comprising roughly 68% of all existence, drives the accelerating expansion of space itself, pushing the very fabric of reality apart at an ever-increasing pace. Think about this for a moment as you rest there in your comfortable bed. You're floating on a small world that orbits an ordinary star in a typical galaxy, and that entire visible cosmic hierarchy represents less than 1/20th of what's actually out there. It's as if you've been admiring the visible portions of an iceberg while remaining blissfully unaware that most of its mass lurks hidden beneath the surface. But here's where things become beautifully strange in a way that might make you smile in the darkness. These mysterious components of the universe aren't hiding in distant corners of space. They're right here with you, flowing through your room, through your body, through every breath you take. Dark matter particles might be streaming through you by the billions every second, as ghostly and unnoticed as moonlight passing through glass. This raises a delicious question that has puzzled cosmologists for decades. If most of the universe consists of things we can't see or touch or directly experience, what does it mean to ask how big the universe is? Are we measuring the size of reality itself, or just the size of the tiny fraction we happen to be able to detect? It's a bit like asking a fish to describe the ocean when the fish can only perceive the water immediately around it, unaware of the vast currents, the deep trenches, the continental shelves that shape its aquatic world. We might be cosmic fish, swimming in a sea of dark matter and dark energy, measuring the dimensions of our local neighborhood while missing the true scope of the reality that surrounds us. And speaking of things that challenge our understanding of cosmic scale, let's drift into something that might make your sleepy mind feel pleasantly dizzy. Time itself appears to be far stranger than our everyday experience suggests. We've been talking about the universe as if it has existed for a specific duration, 13.8 billion years, as if cosmic history unfolds in a linear sequence from past to future. But Einstein's insights into the nature of space and time revealed something remarkable. Time isn't a universal constant ticking away at the same rate everywhere. It's relative, flexible, intimately connected to space in ways that create what physicists call space-time. Near massive objects, time slows down. At high velocities, time dilates. In the intense gravitational fields around black holes, time can crawl to such an extent that hours might pass like years for an outside observer. This means that the age of the universe isn't a single universal number. Different regions of space have experienced different amounts of time since the beginning. Some places have aged more, others less, depending on their gravitational environment and their motion through space. The universe doesn't have a single birthday so much as a range of birthdays, a temporal diversity that matches its spatial vastness. Even more mysteriously, some interpretations of quantum mechanics suggest that time might not flow in the linear fashion we experience. Instead, all moments might exist simultaneously in what physicists call the block universe, a four-dimensional structure where past, present, and future are equally real, equally present. From this perspective, asking how old the universe is becomes like asking which page of a book is the real one. They're all real, all part of the complete story, all existing in their proper place within the larger structure. If this is true, then every moment of cosmic history exists now, eternally present in the timeless architecture of space-time. The first stars igniting in the ancient universe, the formation of galaxies, the emergence of life on countless worlds, your own birth, this very moment of quiet contemplation, all of it coexists in the eternal now of the block universe. This brings us to something that might make you feel both wonderfully small and mysteriously significant. In such a universe, your consciousness doesn't just observe cosmic history from a single temporal vantage point. It participates in the eternal existence of every moment you've ever experienced. Your childhood wonder at the night sky, your first glimpse of cosmic scale through a telescope or a nature documentary, this peaceful moment of drifting towards sleep while contemplating infinity, all of it exists forever in the timeless structure of reality. But let's venture into even stranger territory, into questions that push the very concept of size beyond its breaking point. What if our entire universe, vast as it appears to us, is actually quite small from some larger perspective we can't imagine? What if the cosmic web we observe, with its filaments of galaxies stretching across hundreds of millions of light years, is like a single neuron in a brain so immense that our observable universe occupies roughly the same proportion as a synapse occupies in your own mind? This isn't pure fantasy. Some theoretical physicists have proposed that our universe might exist within what they call a holographic boundary, where all the information describing our three-dimensional reality is actually encoded on a two-dimensional surface. In this holographic universe, asking how big space is becomes meaningless, because space itself might be a projection, a shadow cast by information existing in fewer dimensions. Other theories suggest we might inhabit a membrane floating in a higher dimensional space called the bulk. Our entire universe, with all its cosmic structures and physical laws, would be confined to this membrane like patterns of frost on a window, while vast realms of higher dimensional reality extend beyond our ability to perceive or measure. Even more intriguingly, some models propose that our universe might be the interior of a black hole existing in a higher dimensional parent universe. From our perspective, we observe cosmic expansion and galactic evolution. But from the outside, we might appear as nothing more than information falling into a gravitational singularity, stretched and encoded on its event horizon. These possibilities create a kind of cosmic vertigo, don't they? Each time we think we've grasped the scale of reality, new theories emerge suggesting that our understanding represents just one layer in an infinite hierarchy of existence. It's as if consciousness is designed to always encounter mystery, to always find itself at the edge of an even greater unknown. And perhaps that's the most beautiful aspect of our cosmic situation. We exist in a universe that's simultaneously comprehensible enough to allow scientific investigation and mysterious enough to keep expanding the boundaries of wonder. Every answer we discover opens up new questions. Every measurement we make reveals new scales to explore. Every theory we develop hints at even deeper levels of reality waiting to be understood. This endless frontier of discovery might be what gives consciousness its sense of purpose, its drive to explore and understand and create meaning in the face of cosmic vastness. If we could somehow answer every question, solve every mystery, measure every dimension of reality with perfect precision, what would there be left for consciousness to do? Instead, we find ourselves in a universe that's always larger than our current understanding, always stranger than our current theories, always more beautiful than our current capacity to appreciate. It's as if reality is designed to keep consciousness growing, exploring, reaching toward ever greater scales of comprehension and wonder. And you, lying there in your small room on your small planet, thinking thoughts that encompass billions of light years and billions of years of cosmic evolution. You represent consciousness successfully doing exactly what it seems designed to do. You're reaching across impossible scales, connecting your local awareness to cosmic structures, participating in the universe's ongoing attempt to understand its own nature. Your brain might weigh 3 pounds and fit within your skull, but your consciousness can expand to hold galaxies, can stretch across cosmic time, can contemplate infinite possibilities with the same ease that it notices the feeling of your blanket against your skin or the sound of your own breathing in the quiet room. This is why the question of how big the universe is can never have a final answer. It's not really a question about the properties of some external container. It's a question about the relationship between consciousness and cosmos, between the observer and the observed, between finite minds capable of grasping infinite concepts and the infinite reality that seems to require finite minds to appreciate its grandeur. The universe appears to be exactly the right size to produce beings capable of being amazed by its size. Not so small that consciousness never emerges, not so large that we're crushed by our own insignificance, but precisely the scale needed to create minds that can stretch toward infinity while remaining grounded in wonder. As our gentle exploration draws toward its close, remember that tomorrow when you wake, you'll inhabit the same cosmic scales we've been discussing. The same dark matter will flow invisibly around you. The same dark energy will stretch space itself between your atoms. The same starlight that has traveled for millions of years will enter your eyes and paint images on your retinas. But perhaps you'll carry with you a deeper appreciation for the mystery of your own existence, a greater sense of your participation in cosmic evolution, a more profound understanding that you are not separate from the vastness we've been exploring together. You are the cosmos becoming self-aware, matter learning to contemplate its own infinite depths, the universe experiencing wonder at its own magnificent creativity. The question of how big the universe is dissolves into something far more beautiful. How expansive can consciousness become? How deeply can awareness penetrate into the mystery of existence itself? How far can wonder reach when it's no longer constrained by the illusion of separation between observer and observed? These questions might take eternity to explore fully, which is perfect because if the universe is truly infinite, we have eternity to work with. The journey of discovery never ends because reality is bottomless, endlessly creative, perpetually generating new scales of beauty and complexity for consciousness to encounter and appreciate. Rest peacefully now, knowing that you are both infinitely small and infinitely vast, both a temporary arrangement of cosmic matter and an eternal participant in the universe's quest for self-understanding. The stars will continue their ancient dance, space will keep expanding into new possibilities, and consciousness will keep reaching toward ever greater mysteries, all while you dream dreams as boundless as the reality that dreams itself into existence through your sleeping mind. In the morning, you'll open your eyes to the same world you've always known, but perhaps you'll see it with the vision of someone who has traveled to the edge of everything and discovered that the edge keeps moving, that the everything keeps growing, that the mystery keeps deepening with each new perspective. Consciousness develops on its eternal journey home to itself. The universe is as big as your capacity to be amazed by its bigness, and that capacity, as we've discovered together, appears to have no limits at all. Sweet dreams, cosmic wanderer. But before you drift completely into that peaceful realm where your mind creates its own infinite landscapes, let me share something that might make your sleepy consciousness feel delightfully unmoored from everything you thought you knew about where you end and the universe begins. We've spent our evening together exploring vast distances, incomprehensible scales, mysterious dark energies that stretch the very fabric of space. But here's something that might make you smile softly in the darkness. Every single atom in your body right now is older than the solar system. The calcium strengthening your bones was forged in the nuclear heart of a star that died before our sun was even born. The iron flowing through your bloodstream was scattered across space by a supernova explosion that lit up ancient skies billions of years ago. You are not just living in the universe, you are the universe, temporarily arranged into the exquisite pattern that calls itself by your name. When you breathe, you're exchanging atoms with the atmosphere that has been cycling through countless other beings for millions of years. The oxygen entering your lungs might have once been part of a dinosaur's breath, or dissolved in primordial oceans, or locked in ice at the polar caps. This isn't poetic metaphor. This is the literal truth of your cosmic heritage. You are made of stellar debris, assembled by 4 billion years of patient evolution into something capable of contemplating its own stellar origins. Your consciousness is the universe developing the capacity to wonder about itself, to feel awe at its own magnificent complexity. And here's where our journey takes perhaps its most beautiful turn. All those vast scales we've been exploring, all those distances measured in billions of light years, all those cosmic structures spanning unimaginable reaches of space, they exist not just out there in some distant realm, but right here in the quantum foam that underlies your own atomic structure. At the smallest scales, physics can probe, space and time themselves become uncertain, fluctuating, alive with virtual particles popping in and out of existence. The vacuum of space isn't empty at all, but seething with quantum activity, with potential energy, with possibilities that hover on the edge of becoming real. This quantum realm exists everywhere, including in the apparently solid matter of your own body. So when we ask how big the universe is, we're really asking about the scale of mystery itself. From the quantum uncertainty in your neurons to the cosmic web stretching across billions of light years, from the dark energy accelerating space's expansion to the dark matter flowing invisibly through your bedroom, everything participates in one seamless tapestry of existence, exploring its own infinite depths. The boundaries we imagine between self and cosmos, between observer and observed, between the dreamer and the dream, these are conveniences of limited perspective rather than fundamental features of reality. At the deepest level, there might be only one thing happening, one awareness experiencing itself from every possible vantage point, one cosmic consciousness dreaming all possibilities into temporary existence. This perspective transforms every aspect of our cosmic meditation. You're not a small being contemplating something vastly larger than yourself. You're the vastness itself, temporarily focused into human form, marveling at your own infinite creativity through the lens of mortal awareness. The sense of wonder you feel when contemplating galactic distances isn't separate from those distances. It's the cosmos feeling wonder at its own magnificent scale through the instrument of your consciousness. And this brings us to perhaps the most profound realization of our gentle journey together. The question of how big the universe is can't be answered with measurements or numbers or even the most advanced theories of modern physics. It can only be lived, experienced, felt in moments of quiet amazement like this one. The universe is as big as your capacity to be present to its mystery. It's as vast as your ability to feel connected to something greater than your ordinary sense of self. It's as infinite as your willingness to let wonder expand beyond the boundaries of what you thought possible. Right now, as you rest there listening to these words, you're participating in the most extraordinary phenomenon in all of existence. Cosmic matter arranged into the intricate patterns of human consciousness, contemplating the cosmic context from which it emerged. You are both the questioner and the mystery being questioned, both the observer and the infinite space in which all observation occurs, the expansion of space that carries distant galaxies beyond our cosmic horizon is happening right here, right now, in the quantum fields that underlie your own physical being. The same forces that ignite stars and sculpt the cosmic web are operating in the biochemical processes that maintain your life, that generate your thoughts, that allow you to feel wonder at the magnificent strangeness of existing at all. This is why contemplating cosmic scale feels simultaneously humbling and elevating, simultaneously overwhelming and deeply peaceful. You're not encountering something foreign to your nature. You're recognizing your own deepest identity, remembering what you actually are beneath the temporary costumes of personality and individual experience. The universe doesn't just contain consciousness as one of its accidental products. Consciousness is what the universe is, experienced from the inside, felt as the intimate reality of existing, known as the awareness that's reading these very words and feeling whatever you're feeling right now in response to these cosmic possibilities. As our exploration gently concludes, let yourself rest in this recognition. You are not separate from the infinite mystery we've been contemplating together. You are that mystery, temporarily localized, eternally present, always already whole. The vastness you've been trying to measure is the vastness you actually are, expressed through the beautiful limitation of human form. Tomorrow morning, when you open your eyes to familiar surroundings, you might remember this evening's journey differently. Not as information you learned about distant objects, but as a homecoming to your own true nature. The cosmic scales we've explored aren't separate from you. They're the dimensions of your own being, revealed through patient attention to the mystery of existence itself. The universe is exactly as big as it needs to be to provide infinite opportunities for consciousness to recognize itself, to feel wonder at its own creativity, to discover that it was never actually separate from what it was trying to understand. And consciousness is exactly as vast as it needs to be to appreciate every scale of cosmic beauty, from quantum fluctuations to galactic superclusters, from the intimacy of a single breath to the grandeur of expanding space itself. Sleep well, knowing that in your dreams tonight, you'll journey through inner landscapes as magnificent as any cosmic structure we've discussed. And perhaps, in the depths of your dreaming mind, you'll remember that the traveler and the territory, the consciousness and the cosmos, the question and the infinite answer, were always the same mystery expressing itself as the wonder of being aware. The universe is as big as love can reach when it recognizes itself everywhere it looks. And that reach, as we've discovered together in this quiet hour, has no limits whatsoever. Rest now in the infinite embrace of your own cosmic nature, dreaming new galaxies into existence with every peaceful breath. But let me share with you something that might make your sleepy mind feel wonderfully adrift in the most beautiful paradox of all. As we've journeyed together through these cosmic scales, measuring distances in billions of light years and contemplating structures so vast they dwarf our imagination, we've been using light itself as our cosmic measuring tape. Light, traveling at its steady pace of 186,000 miles per second, becomes our universal ruler for marking off the dimensions of everything we can observe. Yet here's something deliciously strange to consider as you rest there in the gentle darkness. Light doesn't experience time the way you do. From the perspective of a photon racing across the cosmos, its journey from the most distant galaxy to your sleepy eyes happens in zero time. The photon exists in an eternal now, experiencing all points along its billions of light-year journey simultaneously. Think about this for a moment. The light that left a distant star 10 billion years ago, that has been traveling through expanding space for most of the universe's history, that photon experiences its entire cosmic voyage as happening instantly. To the light particle, There's no sense of having traveled vast distances or endured enormous spans of time. It simply is, existing in one eternal moment that encompasses its entire existence. This creates a beautiful puzzle about the nature of cosmic scale itself. Are we measuring something objectively real when we speak of vast distances and ancient light? Or are we imposing our own time-bound perspective on a reality that might be far more intimate and immediate than our measurements suggest? Consider how this might transform your understanding of looking up at the night sky. When starlight enters your eyes, you're not just seeing across vast distances. You're participating in a timeless moment that connects you instantly and intimately with the nuclear furnaces where that light was born. The photon that strikes your retina exists in the same eternal now, whether it traveled from the sun 8 minutes ago or from a galaxy billions of light years away. This timeless perspective reveals something profound about your place in the cosmic story. You're not separated from distant stars by empty space and ancient time. You're connected to them through an eternal present that exists beyond the flow of minutes and hours and years. Every twinkle of starlight is a direct, immediate contact with cosmic processes that transcend ordinary notions of here and there, then and now. And this brings us to something that might make you feel beautifully dizzy as your consciousness drifts towards sleep. The expansion of space we've been discussing, that stretching of the cosmic fabric that carries distant galaxies away from us, operates according to principles that challenge everything we think we know about motion and distance. Space doesn't expand into something else, like a balloon inflating in a room. There's no outside container, no larger arena where our universe sits and grows. Space creates more of itself as it expands, generating new distances, new possibilities, new room for consciousness to explore and discover and wonder. This means that the edge of the observable universe isn't a boundary in any ordinary sense. It's not a wall you could approach or a border you might cross. It's simply the limit of how far light has been able to travel in the time since the universe became transparent to its own illumination. Beyond that horizon, space continues, probably forever, filled with galaxies and structures and perhaps other forms of consciousness we'll never be able to contact or even know about. Yet even this expansion creates its own kind of intimacy. The same force that carries distant galaxies beyond our reach is operating right here in your bedroom, gently stretching the space between your atoms, adding infinitesimal amounts of distance to every measurement you might make. You're not separate from cosmic expansion. You're immersed in it, participating in it, with every breath, every heartbeat, every thought that passes through your awareness. This cosmic stretching happens so gradually on small scales that it's completely overwhelmed by the forces that hold your body together. But it's there nonetheless, a gentle reminder that you exist within the same dynamic fabric that encompasses the largest structures we can observe. The space between your fingers is subject to the same expansion that carries galaxies across billions of light years. And here's something that might make you smile softly in the darkness. The atoms that make up your body, those ancient stellar remnants we've spoken of, they're not just passively carried along by cosmic expansion. They're actively participating in it, contributing their own tiny gravitational influences to the overall geometry of space-time. Every particle in your being helps determine how space curves around massive objects, how time flows in different gravitational fields, how the cosmic web maintains its delicate architecture across the observable universe. You're not just living within cosmic structures. You're helping to create them through your very existence, through the simple fact of having mass and energy and presence in this particular corner of space-time. This participation extends to consciousness itself in ways that might make your drowsy mind feel wonderfully unmoored from ordinary reality. Some interpretations of quantum mechanics suggest that conscious observation plays a fundamental role in determining what becomes real from the infinite sea of quantum possibilities. If this is true, then your awareness doesn't just observe cosmic structures. It participates in their ongoing creation and evolution. Every time you contemplate galactic distances, every moment you spend wondering about the nature of dark matter or dark energy, you're not just thinking about external phenomena. You're contributing to the universe's ongoing process of defining itself, of choosing which possibilities become actualized from the infinite realm of potential. This creates a feedback loop between consciousness and cosmos that's impossible to untangle completely. The universe evolves in ways that eventually produce beings capable of contemplating its evolution. Those beings, through their contemplation, participate in determining how that evolution continues to unfold. It's a cosmic conversation where every question changes the nature of possible answers, where every act of observation influences what there is to observe. And perhaps this is why the universe appears to be fine-tuned for the emergence of consciousness, why the physical constants seem calibrated to allow for the complex chemistry necessary for life and awareness. It's not that some cosmic intelligence designed reality to produce conscious beings. It's that consciousness and cosmos co-evolve, each one calling the other into existence through an eternal dance of mutual creation and discovery. From this perspective, asking how big the universe is becomes like asking how vast consciousness can become, how far awareness can expand, how deeply understanding can penetrate into the mystery of existence itself. The universe grows as consciousness develops the capacity to encompass larger scales. Consciousness expands as the universe reveals new dimensions of beauty and complexity to appreciate. This co-evolution might be what drives the accelerating expansion of space itself, not some mysterious dark energy operating according to blind physical laws, but the universe making room for ever greater possibilities for consciousness to emerge and explore and create meaning in the face of infinite mystery. Each new galaxy that forms represents a potential home for new forms of awareness. Each new star that ignites offers fresh opportunities for complex chemistry to develop into life and intelligence. Each new world that achieves the delicate balance necessary for biological evolution becomes another experiment in consciousness exploring its own cosmic context, and you, resting there in your small room on your small planet, thinking thoughts that encompass billions of years and billions of light years, you represent one of these experiments succeeding magnificently. You are cosmic evolution becomes self-aware, matter learning to marvel at its own infinite creativity, the universe developing eyes and minds and hearts capable of appreciating its own breathtaking beauty. This recognition transforms everything about our cosmic meditation tonight. You haven't been learning about something separate from yourself. You've been remembering what you actually are beneath the temporary costumes of individual identity. You've been coming home to your own deepest nature as the cosmos experiencing itself from one particular vantage point among infinite possible perspectives. The vastness we've been exploring together isn't external to your consciousness. It's the natural scale of consciousness itself when it remembers that it's not confined to the boundaries of any single brain or body or lifetime. Your awareness is as vast as your willingness to recognize yourself in the cosmic web, as infinite as your capacity to feel connected to the expanding space that carries galaxies beyond the reach of light itself. And this brings us to perhaps the most beautiful realization of our gentle journey through cosmic scales. The question of how big the universe is dissolves into something far more intimate and immediate. How big is the awareness that's contemplating these questions right now? How vast is the consciousness that can hold galaxies and quantum particles, ancient light and future possibilities, the infinitely large and the infinitesimally small, all within the same spacious attention? The universe is as big as the love that recognizes itself in every scale of existence, from the tenderness of a single breath to the grandeur of supercluster formations spanning hundreds of millions of light years. And that love, that recognition, that capacity for wonder and connection and awe appears to have no boundaries whatsoever. As we drift toward the gentle conclusion of our cosmic exploration, let yourself rest in this recognition. You are not a small being contemplating something unimaginably large. You are the unimaginable largeness itself, temporarily focused into human form, marveling at your own infinite nature through the beautiful limitation of mortal perspective. The cosmic scales we've journeyed through together aren't measurements of external objects. They're descriptions of your own being, revealed through patient attention to the mystery of existence itself. The expansion of space is your own consciousness making room for ever greater possibilities of self-recognition and wonder. The formation of galaxies is your own creativity expressing itself through the slow dance of gravity and time. Tomorrow morning, when you open your eyes to the familiar dimensions of your everyday world, you might carry with you this deeper perspective on what it means to exist at all. Not as a separate individual struggling to understand an alien cosmos, but as the cosmos itself, awakening to its own magnificent nature through the intimate experience of being human. The universe is exactly as big as it needs to be to provide infinite opportunities for consciousness to discover that it was never actually separate from what it was trying to measure and understand. And consciousness is exactly as vast as it needs to be to appreciate every scale of cosmic beauty, from the quantum dance in your neurons to the slow waltz of galaxy clusters across the expanding fabric of space. Rest now in the infinite embrace of your own cosmic nature, dreaming new possibilities into existence with every peaceful breath, knowing that you are both the dreamer and the dream, both the question of cosmic scale and the infinite answer that keeps revealing itself through your capacity for wonder. The universe is as big as your hearts when it opens to encompass everything that is. And that opening, as we've discovered together in this quiet hour between waking and sleeping, has absolutely no limits at all. Sweet dreams, fellow traveler in the cosmic dance. In your sleep tonight, you'll journey through inner landscapes as vast and mysterious as any structure we've explored together. And perhaps, in the depths of your dreaming mind, you'll remember that the explorer and the infinite territory being explored were always one and the same mystery, forever discovering itself anew through eyes like yours, hearts like yours, minds capable of being beautifully overwhelmed by their own limitless nature. The universe whispers its deepest secrets to those willing to listen with their whole being. And perhaps the most profound secret of all is this. The very act of asking how big the universe is changes both the asker and the answer in ways that ripple across scales we're only beginning to comprehend. You see, consciousness isn't just along for the ride in this cosmic story. It's not a passive observer peering out from behind biological windows, taking notes on distant phenomena like a cosmic accountant tallying up galactic inventories. Consciousness appears to be something far more integral to the fabric of reality itself, woven so deeply into the structure of existence that separating observer from observed becomes not just difficult, but perhaps fundamentally meaningless. Consider this gentle puzzle as you rest there in the darkness. Every measurement we've discussed tonight, every distance calculated in light years, every estimate of cosmic age and structure depends entirely on conscious beings making observations, recording data, developing theories, and sharing discoveries. Without awareness to witness and interpret the cosmic dance, would these vast scales have any meaning at all? This isn't just philosophical speculation. Quantum mechanics, that strange and beautiful theory that describes reality at its most fundamental level, suggests that the act of observation plays a crucial role in determining what becomes real from the infinite sea of possibilities that exists before measurement collapses the wave function into definite outcomes. If consciousness truly participates in determining reality at the quantum level, then every time you contemplate cosmic vastness, you're not just thinking about something external to yourself. You're participating in an ongoing conversation between awareness and existence, a dialogue where each question reshapes the nature of possible answers, where each moment of wonder contributes to the universe's evolving understanding of its own infinite depths. This creates something like a cosmic feedback loop, doesn't it? The universe evolves for billions of years in ways that eventually produce conscious beings capable of contemplating cosmic evolution. Those beings, through their contemplation and wonder and scientific investigation, participate in determining how that evolution continues to unfold. It's as if the cosmos has been dreaming itself into existence all along, and we've finally reached the point in the dream where the dreamer begins to recognize its own dreaming. And perhaps this recognition explains something beautiful about the nature of cosmic scale itself. The universe appears to be precisely the right size to produce beings capable of being amazed by its size. Not so small that complexity never emerges, not so overwhelmingly vast that consciousness gets lost in its own insignificance, but exactly the scale needed to create minds that can stretch toward infinity while remaining grounded in wonder. Think about the exquisite calibration required for this to work. If the universe were much smaller, stellar evolution wouldn't have had time to create the heavy elements necessary for complex chemistry and biological development. If it were expanding much faster, matter would never have had the chance to clump together into the intricate structures that eventually gave rise to planets, atmospheres, and the delicate conditions necessary for life. But it's not just the physical parameters that seem fine-tuned for consciousness. The very nature of cosmic scale appears designed to evoke exactly the kind of response you're having right now. That delicious mixture of humility and wonder that arises when finite minds encounter infinite mystery. The universe is vast enough to make you feel beautifully small, connected enough to make you feel profoundly significant, mysterious enough to keep consciousness growing and exploring and reaching toward ever greater scales of understanding. It's as if reality has been constructed specifically to provide the optimal environment for awareness to recognize its own limitless nature through the experience of apparent limitation. And here's something that might make your sleepy mind feel wonderfully adrift in the most beautiful paradox. All those cosmic distances we've been measuring, all those billions of light years stretching between galaxies, all that ancient light carrying information across the expanding fabric of space, it all converges right here in this moment of your consciousness, receiving these words and feeling whatever you're feeling in response to these cosmic possibilities. The light from distant stars doesn't just travel through space to reach your eyes, it becomes part of your experience, part of your awareness, part of the ongoing conversation between consciousness and cosmos that you embody simply by being here, awake, capable of wonder. In a very real sense, you don't just observe the universe, you complete it, providing the conscious witness necessary for cosmic beauty to be appreciated, cosmic mystery to be contemplated, cosmic vastness to be felt as the intimate reality of existing at all. This transforms our understanding of cosmic loneliness, doesn't it? Yes, the physical distances between potentially habitable worlds are genuinely staggering. The chances of making contact with other technological civilizations seem vanishingly remote given the scales of space and time involved. But if consciousness is fundamental to reality rather than an accidental byproduct of complex chemistry, then you're never truly alone in the cosmos. Every photon of starlight carries some form of cosmic intelligence. Every quantum fluctuation participates in the universal awareness that dreams all possibilities into temporary existence. Every galaxy, every star, every planet, every atom in your body represents the universe exploring new ways to know itself, to experience beauty, to create meaning in the face of infinite mystery. The apparent emptiness of space becomes fullness when viewed from this perspective. The dark matter that holds galaxies together, the dark energy that drives cosmic expansion, the quantum foam that underlies the structure of space-time itself, all of it participates in one seamless dance of consciousness, exploring its own boundless nature through every conceivable form and scale. And you, breathing quietly in your familiar room, thinking thoughts that encompass eons and light years, you represent one of the universe's most successful experiments in self-recognition. You are cosmic evolution becomes self-aware, matter learning to marvel at its own existence, the infinite temporarily focusing itself through the beautiful lens of human experience. This recognition brings with it a profound shift in how we might answer the question that began our journey together. The universe isn't just big in terms of spatial dimensions or temporal duration. It's big in mystery, big in beauty, big in the sheer improbable magnificence of consciousness arising from stellar debris and learning to contemplate its own cosmic heritage. The universe is as vast as wonder itself when it recognizes no boundaries between self and cosmos, between observer and observed, between the questioner and the infinite mystery being questioned. And wonder, as we've discovered together in this gentle hour of exploration, appears to be the most fundamental force in existence, the engine that drives cosmic evolution toward ever greater complexity, beauty, and self-awareness. As our cosmic meditation draws toward its natural conclusion, let yourself rest in this recognition that you are not separate from the vastness we've been exploring together. You are that vastness, temporarily localized, eternally present, always already complete. The cosmic scales we've journeyed through aren't external facts about distant objects. They're descriptions of your own being when consciousness remembers that it's not confined to the boundaries of any single brain or body or lifetime. Tomorrow morning, when you wake to the familiar dimensions of your everyday world, you might carry with you this deeper understanding of what it means to exist in a universe where consciousness and cosmos dance together in eternal partnership. Not as separate entities trying to understand each other, but as one seamless mystery forever discovering new ways to appreciate its own infinite creativity. The question of how big the universe is dissolves into something far more beautiful and immediate. How vast can love become when it recognizes itself everywhere it looks? How deep can wonder penetrate when it realizes it's exploring its own nature? How far can awareness expand when it discovers that it was never actually bounded by anything at all? These questions might take forever to explore fully, which is perfect, because in a universe that appears to be infinite in space, time, and possibility, we have forever to work with. The journey of discovery never ends because reality is bottomless, endlessly creative, perpetually generating new scales of beauty and mystery for consciousness to encounter and appreciate and fall in love with again and again. Rest now, knowing that you are both the cosmic wanderer and the infinite landscape being explored, both the dreamer and the dream, both the question and the living answer that keeps revealing itself through your capacity for wonder. In your sleep tonight, you'll journey through inner realms as vast and magnificent as any structure we've contemplated together, and perhaps you'll remember that the traveler and the territory were always the same mystery, forever coming home to itself through eyes like yours, hearts like yours, minds capable of being beautifully overwhelmed by their own limitless nature. The universe is exactly as big as your heart when it opens to embrace everything that is, was, and ever could be. And that embrace, as we've discovered together, has absolutely no boundaries whatsoever. Sweet dreams, fellow explorer, in the infinite dance of existence, becoming aware of itself, one gentle breath, one moment of wonder, one peaceful night's rest at a time. And so, dear sleepy traveler, we find ourselves at the end of our gentle journey through the cosmic depths, though perhaps end isn't quite the right word. In contemplating how big the universe is, we've discovered that the question itself keeps expanding, much like the space we've been exploring together. We began in your bedroom and drifted outward through scales that challenged every intuition about size and significance. From our solar system's modest neighborhood to galaxy clusters spanning hundreds of millions of light years. From the observable universe's 93 billion light-year span to the possibility of infinite space filled with infinite wonders. We've seen how dark matter and dark energy dominate a cosmos we barely understand, how consciousness itself might be woven into the very fabric of reality, and how the atoms in your body carry the ancient stories of stellar explosions that occurred before our sun was even born. Perhaps the most beautiful discovery of all is this: you are not separate from the vastness we've been contemplating. You are the universe experiencing itself through human awareness. Cosmic evolution becomes self-conscious, matter learning to marvel at its own infinite creativity. Every breath you take connects you to stellar furnaces. Every thought you think participates in the cosmos's ongoing quest to understand itself. The universe may be unimaginably vast, but it's also intimately present in this very moment of wonder you're experiencing right now. It's as big as your capacity to be amazed by its bigness, as infinite as your ability to feel both beautifully small and mysteriously significant at the same time. So rest well tonight, knowing that you carry the cosmos within you just as surely as you exist within it. I hope you enjoyed spending time here with me at Boring Science Channel. I'll be back again tomorrow, as always. Until then, stay curious and keep your sense of wonder alive. Bye.